Witt is an educator and parenting expert who is the author of 12 books. So welcome to the show, Sharon. It's always great to see you.
Thanks for having me, Sally Ann.
That's all right. Now, you deal with a lot of parents in the work that you do. I'm just wondering, when they talk to you, what would you say would be their greatest concern?
That's a really big question. I think one of the biggest concerns that parents tend to have is, am I going to stuff up my child's life? You know, we're often very hard on ourselves with the little mistakes that we make along the way, and I think that's probably one of parents' biggest concerns is, are they going to be okay? Am I raising a fairly great human being that's going to be okay in life?
And it's actually something that I often talk to parents about as well, because I think, and you guys can butt in whenever you feel like it, but I think that we all wonder, are we going to do the right thing, and you know, how do we go about that?
Yeah. And there's just so much out there now. There's so much noise in our heads and so much advice from so many different places that we can often just wonder if we're doing this parenting thing okay.
One of the things I was going to ask Sharon, but I actually won't now, I think, was about the different parenting styles. You know, we have the helicopter parents and the lawnmower parents and tiger mums and lots of different styles. But I guess, you know, one of the things that, you know, I'm wondering is there one right way?
Yeah, and I also think that we need to be really kind to ourselves as parents, because on any given day we are doing the very best job that we can. And you know, you've got 6 children and 2 children, and I think we need to remind ourselves that we're doing a great job and that it is one of the biggest and hardest jobs in the world. And it is 24/7. It doesn't stop, even when your children are 30, 40 years old. You know, my parents are still worrying about me, you know.
And my mother's actually here tonight just making sure that I look okay and that I sound okay. Now, in the break we were talking about, you know, nurturing ourselves, and we were talking about, you had something to say about that? You were going to...
Yeah, well, I was saying that, you know, it's really important as parents that we do look after ourselves first and foremost. And there's that whole cliche about when you're in an aeroplane and if the aeroplane's going to crash, that the oxygen falls down, and that, you know, the instructions are always that you take the oxygen first and then offer it to your children. And that's really important, that we actually look after ourselves first and foremost so that we can actually nurture our children and have enough energy for them. And if we don't have the energy, then you know, it becomes more problematic. So it'd be great to find out what we do each other to look after ourselves.
Yes, yeah. So is there anything that you guys do to nurture yourselves? I think what you were saying before, Karen, is that you go to work. Are there other things that you do? And Jane?
I do like crafts. I do a bit of cake decorating and community work. I'm involved a little bit in the community and I enjoy that. So I do get a little bit of downtime.
I have lots of things that I'd like to do at the moment, Sally Ann, but it's a bit challenging. The small one is at 15 months is still a bit time consuming. I have great plans often, and I think you're very right in saying that we need to be kind to ourselves, because you set yourself goals for the day, and when you don't achieve them, it's very easy to you know, put a negative spin on that and beat yourself up for it. But you know, taking the positives out of the day and doing just those little things for yourself, even if it's to stop and get a coffee or have a phone conversation with a friend, to celebrate those and realise what that gives you back.
Yeah, as a psychologist, actually, I tell clients that it's really important to schedule a pleasure activity every day. You need to make sure that in a very busy day, because we all have busy days, to make sure that you actually schedule and plan something to do that day, whether it is just grab a coffee or, you know, paint your nails or, you know, whatever it might be. But we need to really look after ourselves and nurture ourselves, because I think that society's hard enough on us. There's all the you know, the breastfeeding issues about, you know, do you breastfeed or not? We worry about those things. And another thing that parents worry about too, which may not be so relevant for you, Karen, but technology. How do we use it? How do we work that out? How do we manage technology? What do you do in your house, Jane?
Well, the older ones have their phones and their computers and their laptops, I should say. So they're pretty on them most of the time, or when they're needed. The younger ones, we sort of monitor no PlayStation during Monday to Friday, maybe on weekends, just pending. And the little one occasionally will go on an iPad.
Do you have any advice?
Well, it was interesting because I was actually at a conference yesterday, and a brand new dad of about a 3-week-old little boy was sort of amongst a few of us, and he said, you know, we've decided our child won't be having any screen time for the first 3 years. And of course, myself and my colleague just had a little chuckle to ourselves. He said, I know what you're thinking, but that's how we're going to try. And I think it's really important that, that we monitor it and have it, we keep it, I guess, within the confines of a certain time frame, and just make sure that it's in moderation. I think all things are great, and we have some wonderful technology. We have iPads now and things that will entertain children, but we just need to make sure we do that in moderation and not use it as a babysitter all the time.
Exactly. Look, thank you so much for sharing your expert opinion on things, Sharon. And after the break, we're going to add a legal expert to our conversation, so stay tuned.
For example, leaving them in a very hot car for hours at a time.